Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, great people in all of the great land? It's your guy, Nicholas Wilcox. It's your guy, Johnny Main. Johnny, say what's up to the great people.
Woo, 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 woo.
Ric Flair over there?
Nah, man, just cold out here, man. You know, it's cold. It's cold. We got snow up here, man. A little bit of it anyway, man. It's starting to get aggressively cold up here in these parts. If you can tell, my wardrobe has changed. You know, like Seth Rollins. I'm in here, sweatshirt, hoodie, sometimes tank top, sometimes t-shirt. I don't think y'all seen me with the tank top yet. But yeah, what up, though, man? What up? What up? Week 13. Playoffs is smelling fishy. And this is the week, man. Some people gonna get bounced. Some people gonna continue to keep rolling, man. So we'll see how things go. See the homie Tip in the chat. What up, big dog? What up, bro? What up? What up?
Put them ones up.
Speaking of, did you even catch that last night?
No, I didn't.
Neither did I. I didn't catch. Like I just seen some highlights. I did not pay the $29.99. You know, I was happy paying my little $4 and $9.99 when they bumped it up to $29. Y'all can have it. Y'all can keep it.
That's sick. Rick, what up? Good morning. What up? Whatever y'all got to provide to the overall channel, let us know. Any questions for DFS, your props, your best, your start sits. We had a ball for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. We'll get to that in the betting section. But yeah, like we about to break down these games for week 13. Can you believe we already here? Like it's crazy, yo. Like a couple weeks before most people's playoffs start. And if you're looking to scratch in, now's the time to make sure you're putting yourself in that position to do so. First things first, if you ain't already liked the video, please do so. If you ain't following us on X, what you doing? We're also on Facebook right now. We're also on other platforms, TikTok. You know what I'm saying? We out here. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget about Spotify. Like, look, we out here. Your favorite fantasy football homeboys out here doing it weekly basis. Show some love. Please tell a friend, tell your family, tell the people that we out here servicing y'all. After that PSA announcement, we're going to go right into the first game. We got the Rams going into Carolina. Take on the Panthers. Thoughts on Bucky? We'll get to that for sure. He's someone that I think is going to be that's definitely a tricky spot. Panthers getting 10 points going to Carolina. Carolina 6-6 are still fighting to at least be division relevant and or find themselves in a playoff position. So this is a big game for, I think, Carolina in general. I think the Rams, obviously, this could be a potential, trap game spot because they're a double-digit favorite going from west to east time zone. So over under 44.5. Johnny, take us away here. Sorry, you were mid.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, no, I think does this game have like a trappish feel to it? I mean, it could, but I think again, continuing the narrative, been talking about for the last, 5 weeks about the Rams 9-2. Although Carolina, man, they did show up on Monday Night Football, so I will give them that, for sure. And I think we thought that. I have a hard time with this one, man, just because I don't know, I don't love the point side of things, but I just think overall, straight up, this is a game the Rams should win, and I think as the narratives are continuing to play out based off of last year in the playoffs and things like that and what we've seen, I think the path is starting to open more and more for the Rams as far as the best team in the NFC. Again, been talking about it for the last 5 weeks. Since 2023, this was kind of one of the things I had for the Tampa Bay game, just obviously as Tip was asking about Bucky Irving. But there's only been one team that's been better since week 13 of 2023. And that's actually the Rams. It's been the Rams and the Bucs have been the two best teams after week 13 since 2023. Obviously, we're week 13 or after, so obviously here we are in week 13. I think obviously just the way these guys have been playing football, it's kind of hard to go against them for sure. Matthew Stafford, 27 consecutive passing touchdowns since his last interception. That was in week 3. The Rams got every single offensive powerhouse housed there. Passing touchdown leader, receiving touchdown leader, best scoring, and they had the best scoring defense this season. So I just think this is not a really good spot. For the Panthers. I think we could go on for days about how the Rams are just in a better situation. When we look at the DFS side of the world, obviously, no shock, Puka Nacua. I'm playing on FanDuel today because I've been getting dominated on DraftKings so far this year. Yeah. Hey, listen, you know what? Keep it a buck. Keep it a $1.50 right now. You know what I mean? Keep it a stack out here. I've been getting dominated. So I said, you know what? I think I'm going to take the week off on DraftKings and just play some FanDuel. Had a little bit more success over on that side of town for sure.
Fair
but
enough.
but
probably got the most piggies over there right now too.
Yeah. I mean, we're at that time of the year, man. This last full week in November, can't be depositing money and shit. Can't be doing that right now, I like the Rams, obviously in this space here. And like I said, obviously those are the players from the ownership side of things. I think some things really just to kind of keep an eye out for, like just for fantasy managers. Keeping an eye out for Kyron Williams, man. It's been not necessarily been the yellow brick road, you know what I mean, that we've been looking at with him over the last few weeks. Obviously, Tay Adams has been taking a lot of that work inside of the red zone for him, and Tedero McMillan. A lot of passing volume in a low passing volume offense, if that makes any sense.
That makes plenty of sense.
He's really the only show in town. So I think mid-range, there was like a mid-range stat for him where he is like, I think he was second. Maybe he was second. Yeah, second as far as intermediate throws, right behind JSN, which that's obviously not a bad place to be when you talk about the best wide receiver that's been there so far this year. So a lot of upside for him moving forward. But yeah, I like the Rams today.
Okay. Yeah, I like the Rams as well. I think when it comes down to it, Panthers, we talked about the run defense before, but it just hasn't been as good as been earlier on in the year. Right now, they're 21st in opponent rush EPA. So they're allowing 4.3 yards per rush. I think this could be a spot for Kyron, actually, believe it or not, because I do think that the game script's going to benefit him for sure. And also from the Panthers side of things, from a defense perspective, like I think the tight end, if you're pretty desperate for a tight end today, Kobe Parkinson could be a good spot. Panthers are allowing the 6th most fantasy points per game to opposing tight ends. So I think this is definitely a good spot for Kobe Parkinson as well. If we're getting down to ancillary pieces and stuff. This game, you could definitely use potentially secondary pieces for other lineups today in this game. Going back to the Bucky Irving answer, like we'll get down to it later on. I guess my overall thoughts on Bucky Irving right now is like I'm starting him where I need him because there's a chance that this really could be a 3-man split. We could literally see 6 to 8 carries, maybe a couple catches from Bucky today, and they don't really ride him like they probably should. This is still a big game for the Bucs today. That's why Baker Mayfield is going to be playing today and stuff like that. It's still a good spot for them against the Cardinals. So schematically, makes sense for Bucky Irving. We just don't know how much money he's going to get. We've heard a lot of talk from Bowles in terms of like we don't really know what is going to look looking like. It's a 3-man committee, the set a third, hot hand situation, stuff like that. We all know Bucky Irving's very, very talented. From the DFS side of things, he's 7K. It probably won't go there on DraftKings today because I just obviously need to see what the usage looks like. But, Johnny, what are your thoughts overall for Bucky today before we get into the next one?
I'm going to play him. Like, I don't have him in any season-long leagues. It's more of the DFS side.
Oh, Brian Thomas situation. Oh.
No, I don't have him. I'll go back to the stat. After I found that stat, I was like, well, and I loved Bucky Irving last year. Like, he did a lot of really great things for me, helped me get into the playoffs with a couple of my teams last season. But after seeing that stat about, running backs under 200 pounds and, the 200 and can't remember 250 or 225 carries and them getting back only 40% of the time, I kind of paused a little bit on him for sure. But I'm playing him today in DFS. I like that game. I think that's a really great game environment today as far as Tampa Bay and Arizona. There's some really good stats and some good good pieces I found in that game. But I think, like, to your point, like, Tampa Bay needs this game. And so, like, they need this game. They need their best players to play big. And obviously Mike Evans is still down. Chris Godwin is back, but I think we all know he's a shell of himself. And the Arizona Cardinals have been one of the peskiest teams in the NFL. Been very fantasy friendly, for sure, but they've been very pesky. And obviously they get Marvin Harrison Jr. back today. So yeah, man, like if you need him, fire him up, man, is what I would say. And I think, like, that's the thing, man, is, you know, if you're in a situation where you have to win to get in, or, you know, to hold on to your playoff spot, go ahead and run it. If not, you can wait and you have better options. Play your better options, man.
That's what it just comes down to. Like, yeah. You know, I know he hasn't played football in over a month and a half or whatever, but you just got to do it. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming on to the show, y'all. Really appreciate it. Well, Meldrum says, can't believe I'm saying this, but the Cowboys might be the deadliest team right now. You called it, Johnny, in terms of Cowboys not only covering, but they also won. And just to reflect on recapping that game a little bit, it's like the Chiefs, man, I just don't know. I watched Trent McDuffie get burned all game long by Pickens and Orland. It didn't matter. He was getting cooked out there. So, yeah, it's concerning because the Chiefs defense was something that, you know, did for a while kind of carry the team in certain spots for the last couple of years. And if you're telling me that the back end is going to be cooked like this in spots where they need them, I don't know. The Chiefs may just not be that team overall. And to the point of, well, Will Meldrum, it's like Cowboys, like, you know, they're still the Cowgirls in my mind, but I'm telling you this, like, they really could be. This could be like you talked about it when we talked about the game, in terms of like the energy, in terms of the team, like, you know, you're having a teammate die and stuff like that, and it's like something that definitely, you know, you can't statistically or like schematically, like from a viewpoint of like it's just pure emotion and it's pure adrenaline and it's pure like, hey, look, we got to do this for our fallen one. Next games for Dallas Lions. Lions Thursday night. They have the Vikings, Chargers, Commanders finish the year out against the Giants. So this is a situation where it's going to be a fight to the end for Dallas. I'll say that. They have a couple winnable games here, and then there's also some games where we may not know what's going to happen to them. But yeah, my football team is the Chiefs. I'm sad.
Yeah.
What are your overall thoughts before we move on in terms of like maybe just both of these teams or the Chiefs and Cowboys, or just like in general, your thoughts from watching the game? What are your thoughts overall?
No, I think like it kind of panned out, you know, just like I had said, man, like Dallas, I think like there's evolutions of teams throughout the season, right? Like there's teams like when you start the year, you and just kind of looking at it from like a pure football side of things and not like a fantasy side. Like there's some teams that like you can look at and you can be like, all right, like this is going to be a bad team on defense and this is how they're going to be. And like some of these teams that are, and we've seen it before in the past, some of these offensive teams that are really, really potent, all they got to do is just be okay on defense. Like they don't have to be the best defense in the league. And like Dallas went out and like they made some moves to try to do that. They've gotten some guys back on the health side of things, you know, on the defensive side of the ball. So like, I'm not like overly shocked. I'm not overly shocked, but like I definitely was not like I wasn't full blown like expecting that until like you sit down and you kind of go through things, you watch things and you see what's going on, and it's kind of like, all right, well, this might actually be a game that like the Cowboys could actually win. And as far as the Chiefs go, I think like we've seen this time and time again, right? Like when there's a team, a player coach that just, you know, has been better than most. And I think the Chiefs have been operating in that space for the last 8 to 10 years, it feels like, you know what I mean? And so for them to finally be in a space where maybe they might not make the playoffs, or maybe they need to like look at like making, I don't want to say wholesale changes, but they just need to upgrade in a few spots. And they've also had, you know, some injuries up front. They're literally their franchise best player is like 35 years old. And like, I think like we can see, you know, the end is coming near for one Travis Kelce. And the AFC West is just, it's tough. Like the AFC West is really, really tough. And, you know, like, then again, like guys like Bo Nix, I know like Bo Nix hasn't been, you know, the greatest fantasy gem for managers this year, but I mean, look at where they sit as far as wins and losses. Sean Payton's never been a guy that's cared about our fantasy rosters. You know what I mean? He's never cared.
Nope.
And then the Chargers, 4 weeks into the season, they look like the best team in football. And obviously injuries have really played a critical part in, their demise here over the last handful of weeks. So, yeah, I think like the Chiefs are in a really scary situation. And I think like for the rest of the league, you still respect them, right? Because you still don't want to find yourself in a situation where, you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, even if they have to come to you, like that's still not something that like you want to be dealing with, is still dealing with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So not exactly how we had it drawn up back in week 4, but here we are.
We are. And I'll say there's still a little time for Kansas City, but the time is completely like at its 11th hour. You're telling me that this team's going to pretty much have to win out in order to pretty much secure a wild card berth, not even division. We're not even talking about division anymore. We're just talking about making the playoffs. Sure. And that being said, the Chiefs get the Texans, the Chargers, the Titans, the Broncos. They finish with the Raiders. So it's like that Bronco game is probably going to be like, look, like we talk about late season stuff. It's like talking about week 17, you know what I'm saying, against the division opponent, that Denver's pretty much going to have the division locked up by then potentially. So we're talking about a spot where do they go all out against their division opponent?
Absolutely. That's a statement. That's a statement.
What do you even think about it? You know what I'm saying? Because depending on how it goes, like Denver could be 12 wins by the time that game come around. So that's where it's like, unless like it's really like they really have a 1 seed locked up, no matter what happens the week next. But again, like you were saying, you don't want your division opponent to be coming in backdoor to playoffs and you have to see him again. Like so,
and the home field, like you mentioned, like the home field advantage, and like Denver and New England, like Denver, New England, Kansas City, any team in the NFL, right? But like there are specific places that are like just way better home field advantage situations, and Denver is absolutely one of those places that is like one of the best. Yeah, one of the best home field advantages in the NFL, and yeah, man.
For sure. Hey, would say good morning, of course. But yes, please like, subscribe. You out here. Yeah. Welcome to the dark side, Johnny, for Scam Duel, I call it. FanDuel, Scam Duel. But anyhow, appreciate everybody coming through the chat. We love it. We appreciate it. Feed us some more. Next game we got is the Niners and the Browns. Win concerning game overall upcoming. Looking at the weather. The Niners are road favorites, 5.5, 8-4 in the year, and Cleveland obviously 3-8, over under 35.5. Like I was saying, the overall weather for Cleveland doesn't look that great in terms of like winds and stuff like that. But in terms of this game, like we've seen, I think it was a similar situation like 2 years ago with the Niners where they were in this spot. Browns.
Yep.
And they lost 20 in the last field goal to Cleveland. So and the overhit. So
yep. No, that's exactly where I was going. That's exactly where I was going.
I mean, look, when it comes down to this game, I mean, I think all eyes are gonna be on George Kittle today. This is a way to beat the Cleveland defense today. And it's gonna be in the middle of the field with George Kittle. Obviously Christian McCaffrey as well. Like, it's not the prettiest matchup, but it's still Christian McCaffrey. And he could obviously blow up in any spot, and he can do it in multiple ways. So with this spot, I mean, I'll probably take the Niners here just because, again, we talk about another division that's tough, the NFC West. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Niners are going to have to keep pace in this one in order for things to transpire. Shador starting again, which is also a good sign. I do think he could have a decent game in this one. Niners defense, as much as they've been looking pretty decent, they're still a team that still allows a ton of receiving yards. There's still matchups to be had here. I mean, dare I say Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, stuff like that. Like all these guys could potentially get some in this offense in this spot. Just depends on how the weather really goes. Like the wind seems to be pretty stable for the moment, but that could change before game time. That's just something just to watch out for. Quinshon Judkins is obviously contrarian play here. but it's something just to keep up note because, again, 6,200 for a guy like Judkins, like it's going to be a spot where, hey, he could give you the floor, 13 points, whatever, but can give you a nice ceiling for 20, 26 potentially. So remains to be seen how this game goes, but I think the Niners, I think Brock Purdy gets back on track a little bit. I still think that, he wasn't playing his best game at all. He looked like trash.
Yeah, no. He looked like a guy that had been out for like 6 weeks.
It was that game was really weird. Like, Carolina gets 3 turnovers early on in that game and only comes away with 3 points. Like, it was really weird. I don't know. I mean, look, like now it gets a Cleveland defense. I might have changed my tone just saying this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Garrett is an absolute monster. So it's like this could be a long day for Purdy again. But I think statistically, I think he'll have a better bounce back spot. Probably more of a conservative approach for him today, but remains to be seen. But I'll still take the Niners because I still think that they had to keep on winning in order to keep themselves in a position for the number 1 seed because it's literally wide open now for the most part. When it comes to the NFC, like especially with the Eagles losing on Thursday, on Friday, it remains to be seen how the rest of the NFC can really roll now because it's like, who are you really feeling like? Who are you putting your money on right now in the NFC right now too? Like
the Rams. Rams. Like the Rams, man.
I was trying to punch you with somebody else, but
yeah. No, you're not wrong. Like you're not wrong about like the West overall, bro.
He's like the Rams. Like,
the Rams, man.
You said, all right. It was either them or Seattle. I didn't know what.
Yeah, that was gonna be my Rams, Seattle, Chicago. Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, the NFC is wide open. You know what I'm saying in terms of like record, number 1 seed, stuff like that. So it just remains to be seen how it goes. But I do think the Niners in the spot are gonna have to keep on winning in order to find themselves an opportunity to at least get the number 1 seed. Their schedule is still pretty decent on the stretch. Anyhow, Johnny, over to you, my guy.
Yeah, no, like I don't disagree with you, man, as far as like just your take on the game overall, like as far as like how things need to go for the 49ers.
Nice line, Rick. I like that.
Okay.
All right. Browns are undefeated against the spread at home this year.
Okay. All right. Let me. All right. I'm writing that one down right now.
Leaving defense today.
I'm actually gonna do the Nick Wilcox and actually write it down and not use my finger here. So Browns ATS.
And not use your finger.
Yeah. And not use yeah. So Browns ATS at home. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you for that nugget, Rick. I appreciate it, brother. Listen, man, Christmas time.
Community.
I was about to say, Christmas time is here, and Brother Johnny trying to stack them pockets. But yeah, like I think like there's a couple of like call outs here, like in this space, man, too, is obviously talk about Christian McCaffrey. Right now, Christian McCaffrey is leading the NFL with 217 carries. And oh, by the way, his 81 reception. Yeah. And no one has ever done that. And I was like, oh, well,
that's
maybe
crazy, yeah.
I was like, even like, like my GOAT for running back LT, I was like, oh no, like he's done a lot of things, but he didn't even do that. And it's basically volume. And then you talk about the Browns defense, really interesting thing for them. They do a really good job at tackling people. But if they miss, plays go for big plays. Like, so right now, like they have, it's 11.5 missed tackle percentage rate this season. So that's not bad. That's actually pretty good, but they allow 6.8 extra yards per missed tackle. So really at the end of the day, it's very simple. Like they got to bring Christian McCaffrey to the ground today. And if they don't, then it's going to be a very long day. I agree with you with the Jerry Jeudy play. There was a couple of lineups that like I was making and I was getting down to like, like the last plays. And I'm like, I guess call me crazy.
I don't like them.
Yeah, no, like right. No, but
100 DraftKings for a spot like this, like it.
Yeah, no, it's something like that, man. So yeah, like I don't hate the spot for Jeudy. He's not somebody that like I'm aggressively going after, but just as an ancillary piece for this game, for sure. Then Hay was asking about is the wheels going to fall off for CMC this year? Maybe all players need to go to Germany. I listen. You know what? I think at the, I mean, I think it's one of those things.
Get banned after that one.
Yeah, they're just trying. They're trying to just will themselves to the playoffs this year. And then if they will themselves to the playoffs and Christian McCaffrey falls apart, so be it. I've seen this happen with Le'Veon Bell back in the day with the Steelers. When that happens, it's very disheartening. But we're in week 13. Christian McCaffrey still upright. He's not the Christian McCaffrey that we are accustomed to, but he's still upright, getting all the volume. So that is a win for fantasy managers.
Sure is. Grandpa Dry, appreciate you coming on, my guy. Please like the video, share it with friends and family. Ask a question if you want it. But no, yeah, everything you said. That's something that good things have to come to an end.
Yeah, they do. They do. They do. They do. They do. Yeah.
They have to come to an end. Draft CMC in odd years, apparently. I mean, that people kept on saying that was a thing and stuff, but I'm like, you can't always do. You can't just make one decision just based on just a player doing one thing and next year this. You can't do it. Can't do it. No, can't do it. On to the Texans and Colts. Texans getting 3 points on the road going to Indianapolis to take on a limped up Daniel Jones. 8-3 record for the Colts. Texans 6-5. Knowing what's at stake, this is like a somewhat playoff ish preview in a way, because this could be a game that I think for the Texans especially, they get this done. They can look back at this game knowing that they got this and potentially got the division crown off this one. Potentially. Over under 44.5 for this one. Daniel Jones coming in limping into this situation. We heard reports about that later in the week. So it remains to be seen. I know he's playing, but it's something that we may have to keep eyes on, Jonathan Taylor and his workload today, in terms of it might be more substantial than normal. But against the Texans defense that literally we know their secondary is, a no-fly zone. This could be a spot where, I think the Colts, I'm going to go with the Texans on this one, but it's more about if Daniel Jones is not really healthy, he's just definitely a sitting duck. And it's something that, is Daniel Jones really starting to show himself again? Is Vanilla Vic no more?
Right.
Because it just hasn't, I don't feel like he's really he hasn't wowed us or anything. You know what I'm saying? He's just been decent, you know what I'm saying? But he hasn't been over the top or anything like he was earlier in the year. Correct me if I'm wrong though.
I wouldn't say that it's that. I would say it's more just trying to differentiate between, real fantasy and real football. I think obviously the big win last week against Kansas City, that's got to hold some kind of weight, right? And I think too, that's the luxury of having a guy like Jonathan Taylor is when you need him and when you need to give him 25 touches in a game, you can give him 25 touches in a game, right? So I think there's that. This isn't a good spot for him anyway. Obviously against the Texans defense, and then obviously I think it was a fractured, was it an ankle or I think it was an ankle or
talking about Daniel?
Yeah. It was, I seen some, it was a fracture, a fracture something. Yeah, something was fractured on him. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Lateral movement, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So there's that. But a couple things that is interesting about JT. Since week 13 of his rookie season, every time he has played the Colts, the Texans, he has had a touchdown in every single game. So that's something to be said. And a lot of times too, these type of defenses, like the Texans or these elite defenses, sometimes there's pockets where you can run the football at them. And that's how you negate them, is by running the ball at them. So I think that Jonathan Taylor is definitely somebody who is in play today. Not again, like I'm not aggressively going after him, but like I think like to have a stat like that right there is pretty interesting for sure. As far as the game goes, I see Haywood here, the plus 3.5 with the Texans. I guess I'll probably ride with that too, man. Because I'm having a hard time trying to find a way and a narrative that like yeah, and then CJ Stroud is back. CJ Stroud's back today too. CJ Stroud's back today, which will probably have some kind of an impact on whether it's Jaden Higgins or Nico Collins. Like Nico Collins has been a lot more efficient. Obviously with Davis Mills, a quarterback. So I think like it'll be interesting to see how things play out like with that. Same thing with Higgins. Like, there's been, some opportunities that Davis Mills left on the field. So it'll be interesting to see if CJ Stroud is able to come back and able to capitalize on some of those opportunities that were left on the field. Because even though for all the positive things that Davis Mills did do for the Texans during the stretch where he was, starting when Stroud was out, I think we can all agree there were definitely a lot of plays that he left on the field. A lot of plays that he left on the field for sure. So I like the Texans in this spot here. So I'm going to go ahead and take them. And like, I hope Jonathan Taylor continues to keep that touchdown trend going because, I need him in a couple of leagues today. So time to start getting a little bit selfish as we get to week 13,
I know.
Time to start getting a little selfish. Yeah.
We're all in agreement here with the Texans. They just simply put, they got 8 sacks on Josh Allen. The last time we saw Texans, 8 sacks on Josh Allen. Now you're telling me we got a Daniel Jones situation that there's not much lateral movement there for him today, according to a lot of reports. He didn't look great. There was a clip that Black Sports Online posted. Shout out to my boy Rob that he posted, and the tape just a simple drop back just didn't even look right for him. So I'm very concerned for Daniel Jones in his spot, unless he gets some type of magic potion juice or whatever, or something, you know what I'm saying, to, the size that he needs or whatever. I don't know. Very, another great home cooked meal for him before the game. I don't know. But unless he gets something like that, or I hear rumbles about that, I'm like, I don't know. But taking the Texans, I'm taking the points. I'm going to pick them outright win because I do think there's a spot where I think Houston's going to have to get this done. They have the defense to do it. It's just all about CJ Stroud getting on the same page with Nico Collins. I think they could definitely do that today.
Miyagi-san.
That was awesome. Okay, going to another AFC South division game that we're like, Snoresville? Jags getting 5.5 on the road going to Tennessee. The over-under right now, 41.5. Jags, another important game for them because they need to keep pace with the rest of this division. And that being said, he needs Michael's secret sauce from Space Jam. I would say so. I think he definitely needs that. I mean, I don't think he fractured his fibula. That'd be crazy. I don't think you could do that because I've broken my leg before. So you can't exactly do that. But I will say that there might be something off with that. It's just I just don't like the situation. That's why we're on the Texans. But talking about the Jags and Titans real quick, we all know the Titans are not great. But Cam Ward has really shown me something, especially in that Seattle game this past week. So I do expect them to keep things a little bit more competitive. It's a division game. They're not playing for much. They're playing for pride for the most part. And I think this is the situation with the Jags. Like, they just have to handle business in this spot. Like, don't be like the Chargers a couple weeks ago that like knew they had to handle business and then just came out flat as a rock. But what I'll say in this game is that at least for the Jags side of purposes, Titans have the 5th worst EPA per pass allowed, and they allow the 6th most yards per pass play. So this should be a bounce back spot for Trevor Lawrence if I'm seeing everything right, because he just hasn't. Trevor Lawrence is one of those other guys. Again, that's just like he has to somewhat get pushed, in my opinion. But it's more about like this is a spot where if they don't handle business, we could just see the Jags just probably run the rock constantly in this spot too. But I just think if you have Trevor Lawrence or whatever, it's like he's a decent play today based on matchup. But I'm not like giving my full 100%. Like you got to start him, put him on your lineups, DFS, all that type of stuff. So it remains to be seen if Trevor Lawrence can really take advantage of the matchup today. And that's just kind of how I see it. I mean, Jags should win this one. The points, be seeing Tennessee again, give Seattle a fight. So I would, if I'm taking it, probably just tease this down to a 3. I wouldn't take this to like the full 6 today. I'd probably just tease down to a 3, make sure the Jags get it done. But what are you saying, Johnny, to this?
Yeah, this one, like I think like the Jags, I'm going to take the Jags straight out, but I think like there's definitely like a lot of like moving parts just offensively for the Titans if you want to go there. Gunnar Helm is a guy that like all of a sudden now, man, is starting to get like a lot more work like at the tight end position for sure. I'm going to go ahead and butcher his name. You know how I do. Xavier Respoto. Xavier Respoto. He's also – yeah, he got a lot of run last week too. Still waiting to kind of see, waiting to see what happens as far as like the pass catchers for the Titans, and who's available and who's not. Even man, like as crazy as this sound, and I literally wanted to vomit when I was going through doing this. I was like, I'm literally putting Van Jefferson in a couple of lineups, like. Like, you know, like, I mean, because you, like, you don't know. That's the thing, bro. Is like, you don't know. Like, this is who they have. This is who they have. Like, literally, I think there's probably only 2 wide receiver rooms that are grosser than the Titans right now.
Saying this week 13, yo.
Yes. Like, there's only a couple of rooms that are as gross as this. Like, the Jets wide receiver room is pretty gross.
Yep, terrible.
Yeah.
Probably even worse. Yep.
Yeah, like, it's pretty gross, man. I was like, whew, man. So I think like those are some things like just to kind of keep an eye out on. And then you mentioned it, man, Travis Etienne. I like him a lot today, man. I think this is a really good spot for him. I think like again, like the Titans have been better than like
your lover boy lately.
I like listen, you know, man, I'll blow where the wind takes me. You know what I mean? Like I'll blow where the wind takes me. One thing about me is like I will plant my flag and I will be like, yo, like I completely botched this one. Or you know what? This is actually not bad because I'm getting ready to go right back into it again with you with Trevor Lawrence. You know, you talked about it like he needs to be pushed. QB 12, QB 10. He's QB 14 on the season. It's been very, very ugly. He's right on the fringe for where he needs to be at. Like as far as like a QB 1, right? Obviously, if you're in a 14-team league, he's got the job done. But it's gross. Like this is where we're at. This is where we're at, man. This is where we're at. And like, listen, man, I'm here to help the people, man. I'm here to help the people and take
we are
down
both here to do that.
Yes. Now there is one person that I do hate in this matchup, Brian Thomas Jr.
I wasn't gonna say it, but you know.
But like, you know, in a space like FanDuel, right? Like you're all of a sudden now, could you imagine back in week 1 where you could look and say that like you would be able to like fit you'd be able to fit Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jalen Waddle into your lineups comfortably. Like from a pricing, comfortably. Like not just doing it and jamming players in there, but being able to do it comfortably and being able to have some freedom to move around with, you know, 1 or 2 other like really solid players because the pricing on these guys this week is actually really, really nice. So I'm interested to see how this shakes out with the Jags today because this is like the first time all year long. I don't want to say where they have all their weapons because obviously Jacoby Myers wasn't there, but now you look around and it's Jacoby Myers, it's Parker Washington, you know, it's Brian Thomas Jr., it's Brenton Strange, it's Travis Etienne, you know, you have Tootin as well, obviously, like, you know, you throw into the mix. All of a sudden now, man, like, you know, you talked about like the Texans in this space. Well, like we can't just bypass the Jags here too. And like one of the things that like the Jags do have that's very, very underrated, like for me, and we've seen like splashes of this throughout the entire year, defensively, like they can get after you. Like they did a really good job transitioning from literally one of the worst defenses in the NFL to a 7-4 team now that has the playoffs like right in their view. So like I think like this is a team that like, you know, we talk about teams because really what it boils down to as far as like big picture, like real football is like, we know this all the time, and it's who is playing the best football at the right time. And like right now, and who is healthy. And like all of a sudden, like you look up and like you got the AFC South, Like the Colts have been running roughshod over everybody all year long. And then, the Texans are finally starting to get healthy. The Jags are starting to get healthy. Like, I don't know, man. So I'm just throwing that out there. From like the actual game side of things, I actually didn't hit on it, so I'll hit on it real quick. Just go backwards and then I'll move forward. But JT on FanDuel, 12% owned. CJ Stroud is the highest owned Texan on FanDuel at 12% in that space. So just for you guys to keep that in mind for that game. And then for the Jags and for the Texans game, Travis Etienne is the highest owned Jaguar at 12% on FanDuel, and the Tennessee Titans, people are playing their defense a lot at 12%, which I could also get behind that as well. Because if you told me that something fluky and something crazy happened in Nashville, I'd be like, all right, like I could see something like that happen. Like there's been a few weeks here, I think over the last 2 or 3 weeks, like we've seen some crazy plays from the Titans defensively and on their specials. So like at basement prices to maybe get like a pick or a couple picks or maybe even a return touchdown or something, that's not a bad place to go.
Yeah, nah. Yep. I don't blame that. I don't. I will understand.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne for the win, right?
I mean, why not, man? Why not? Why not? Why not?
Oh man, Cardinals, Bucks. Cardinals getting 3.5 going into Tampa. Good amount of injuries to report. Oh, we talked about him earlier, but Bucky Irving's back, baby. Been waiting for him. But in terms of that, we have Baker Mayfield going to be playing through the AC sprain today. So that's something obviously to keep in mind for. The good news about this matchup, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news is that both of these teams are still top 10 in pace. The bad news is that Baker Mayfield may not be able to take advantage of it. So we don't know exactly what to expect in a way in this spot for Baker, but Cardinals play a ton of cover 4. So it's very susceptible that they can take advantage. It's just more about how does Baker look when we first see it. So this is definitely a live betting situation where I think we just have to see kind of how Baker moves. I'm going to take the Bucs to win straight up here just because I know what's at stake for them. And they look terrible and trash on the road against Los Angeles. And I know, Baker Mayfield was hurt, whatever. They had Bucky Irving, whatever. But they did not look cohesive at all. They didn't look like no playoff team. They didn't look like no division like potential winner on the road. And one of the things, that reason why was because the Rams literally just did shut down like the throwing windows. You know what I'm saying? Like literally was like not there for Baker. It was literally an onslaught of like, we're only going to rush 3 or 4 and just going to take all these windows away from you. And that's exactly what happened in that game. And that's partially, the other part of it is that, you're getting a weapon back in Bucky Irving. I do think he does have a little bit more juice in this spot than people do think, but it's more about like the ceiling may not be there, but it just more depends on, again, it's just a live betting situation for me. I'm expecting the Bucs to win this one, but it's more about like, hey, like we don't know what we don't know until we start seeing a few drives, a few plays. I like the over here as well, just because, again, if we do see the positive side of things early on, I do think there'd be some points scored here as well. The Cardinals side of things, like Marvin Harrison Jr. is back, and that's good news for all of the Arizona pieces. I mean, Michael Wilson may drop a little bit, but he's definitely still startable. He's proven that he has some staying power at least until coaches see otherwise or the targets change over a little bit. So I do think he's definitely startable this week, but it's more about like, all right, like I just think the Bucs, they have a sour taste in their mouth. They're back at home. They need to, get right. I know Baker Mayfield is not 100%, but we'll just have to see how things shape out. I wouldn't mind anyone taking Arizona, but it's just something that's still like, I think the Bucs, they know what's at stake. They know the Panthers are on their heels. They know they've been playing like crap. So I think it's a nice turnaround bounce back spot for them. Johnny, what you got, my guy?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing to watch today is Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. Like that's going to be the most interesting thing to watch is because like in fifth quarter, I think like right now, month to date, like right now in this moment, absolutely. But I think like for us to finally get an opportunity to see what MHJ can do or what he will look like with a different quarterback, I think like absolutely is like the storyline for me in this game. Like fantasy wise, that's the storyline for sure. And then you have McBride, who's still gonna, he's still gonna do his thing today. With Baker, man, I think this is the thing with Baker is like the AC joint. Like he's played through one of these before in Cleveland. He's played through one of these before, and I think like the thing with him now is like Baker, he's a gamer. He is a gamer, and like, and I will tell you this, like I truly, and this is probably the last time I'm gonna glaze the Rams in this show, but like I think that game was just more about how much better the Rams actually are in real life than the Bucks. I don't think it has anything to do with any of like the Rams are just damn good. Like that's just what it is. So I think this is a space where, like you mentioned, like the cover 4 aspect, for the Cards. So I think there's definitely like some opportunities there. Man, again, here we are, week 13, Emeka Ibuka, man, week 4, it looked like, to the moon. And he's actually third in receiving yards of 10, third in the league in receiving yards of 10 plus yards or more, only behind JSN and George Pickens. But he's only had 62 yards.
He's had a lot of uncatchable targets though lately.
Well, it's not even about the uncatchable targets. Like that's what I was going to get to. He's only had 32 yards and he's had 6 targets in his last 2 games. So it's like, and this goes back to the hamstring injury, which I think he's obviously had a little bit of time for sure. And I say that obviously as I'm sitting here in my chair, not going out getting destroyed by world class athletes. But I think like one of the things that like we still like I'm still looking at is like 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 but like for real, like him like jumping, like his jumping ability, his explosion, things like that. And I think it's just been a bad combination, like you mentioned, man, like as far as like injuries and things like that, the teams that they've played, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's that. Talked about the Baker Mayfield stat. He's second only to the Rams, or the Bucks are only second to the Rams as far as wins from 2023 after week 13 or after. And then the blitz, man. We gotta talk about the blitz, man, and the Buccaneers. Jacoby Brissett's got a QB rating of 117.9 against the blitz. So I think like this is another really good space. And like we talked about Michael Wilson. This is the best 2 weeks that any wide receiver in Cardinals history has ever had. Period, point blank. And then you're talking about guys like Anquan Bolden, you're talking about guys like David Boston, you're talking about guys like Larry Fitzgerald, right? So it definitely, this is definitely going to be one. And like this is my favorite spot to get to today in fantasy. Like I have single-handedly made sure like I have stacked up this game. Like Wilson is the GOAT. Listen, I hope so, man. Like I got him for a couple bags of government cheese in a few leagues, man. You know what I mean? So it's all good. If that's the case, man. If that's the case, like I'm all in, bro. I got a nice little roster stashed away somewhere with him a part of it. But yeah, man, like this is my favorite spot to get to. So like I'm pushing all my cards here to this game, no pun intended, cards. But I definitely do think the Bucks should come out of this game as a winner. You do have that West to East Coast thing, you kind of like to talk about, but yeah, I have a hard time believing that the Bucks lose this game. But like, would I be shocked if Jacoby Brissett walked away from this game with 370 yards and 3 touchdowns? No. Do I believe he's a starting quarterback in the NFL still? Not as much. Like it's not as definitive as I did like the last couple of weeks. So yeah. I'm hoping so, man. I'm hoping so. You see the 5 back there, baby. I rock with y'all, man. You see the 5 back there. No pun intended. I got y'all, man. I got y'all.
I can't, yo. Hopefully the Cards make you a few bucks.
I'm hoping so too, brother. Bells will be ringing.
Well then. All right, my guy. Hey, we'll see you, brother. We'll see you next week, my guy.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, moving on, Saints, Dolphins. Saints getting 5.5 going on the road to Miami. This is still Miami's still relatively still available for this playoff race, but a loss in this spot kills all hope.
Yeah.
So I mean 42.5 over under. Hold on.
Oh boy.
Von Achan, baby.
Yeah.
RB4 right now in the season and 21.3 fantasy points per game on average, baby. Like, what can I say? Like, just it's Von Achan show, baby. Saints, 6th worst run defense in the NFL. This is definitely a spot potentially for Achan to really just like turn it up. Him and Ollie Gordon should be able to have their way in this spot. But what I will say though is that Saints, they can overall give a potential fight in this spot. Like it's just more about now. It's like Shuck looks a little bit more comfortable now in the pocket. So he could take advantage of these matchups. Chris Olave comes in with a questionable tag, but it's something that I not only don't think he'll play and stuff. We'll just have to see how things shape out. The matchup kind of concerns me because Minka Fitzpatrick, your former boy.
They ain't my former. He's still my boy, man. He's still my boy. Name my damn cat after him. Hell.
Well then. Oh boy, yeah, I bet.
It's my boy.
Oh man, but I expect Miami to take this one. It's just more about Von Achan show as Waddle. And then 8,300 for Achan on DraftKings today. It just feels like it feels like a spot. Like it's not a misprice per se, but it's like I'm not sure what ownership looks like for him right now, Johnny. But I have a hard time not putting him in my lineups per se. I'm sure he'd really hella own, but
no, but I want to I want to put that on his last name now. I appreciate that one. I like that one.
Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
I like it.
Grandpa got some, for real, Grandpa Dry, He
I love it.
Listen,
I love it.
So I think Miami, they got to win this spot in order to, keep pace, to keep their season relatively alive. I just don't think the Saints have too much. They'll give some fight, but I don't think it's going to be enough of a fight. Give me Miami, just to win. I like the over because it's a sneaky spot where both teams, like, they do have, we have one team that's a run funnel, we have another team that's a pass funnel. So it's something where just to keep eyes on for matchups. So what you got, Johnny?
Yeah. So Devon Achan, lemon pepper of the week. Lemon pepper. He the lemon pepper chalk of the week. He is the lemon pepper chalk of the week. And Mr. Achan, if you were happen to be watching here before your game, pregame warm up here, I would like to let you know that the last time you were over 40% owned.
Oh boy.
You came up short for a brother.
Oh boy. So
please, not today. And then obviously, you know how much I love playing Jalen Waddle, almost as much as I love of course. You know how much I love playing Jalen Waddle. So, and you know how much I love playing Tua. So yes, I have some game stacks today.
Game stack you said for you.
Yeah. So I have some stacks because Devin Neal
is all your money on it. You gotta spread it out.
Oh Jesus!
Don't do the onside.
Oh my God. Yeah, like I definitely have. I do have some that have, and just a couple other call outs too. Man, is like Darren Waller. Like if he is up and running today, which I think everything I've seen has been kind of trending towards that space. He was really, really solid for those 3 weeks. And I know I'm saying that with an asterisk for those 3 weeks, but he is mint price on FanDuel today at $4,000. So if he happens to play today, that is very nice, along with getting a really good discount on Devin Neal, who's like the least expensive starting running back, not named Tony Pollard, I believe, on FanDuel. So I think there's definitely an opportunity there. Olave, I'm very, very scared of him. And of course, this will be the week that he breaks the slate, 3 catches, 128 yards. 9 catches, 3 touchdowns, 128 yards. That's what it'll go for today. That's like, and like, obviously, like, it's hard not to like Achane in this space, right? So I think this is a game, as you mentioned, man, it's got sneaky upside for sure. I think, and then even when you look at the defenses as well, if you told me that one of these two quarterbacks turned it over today, he's not quite banned, but it doesn't take a lot to get me grumpy. And like, yeah, so I think there's that. And then the Dolphins, actually, man, they have the 3rd highest blitz rate of any team in the NFL this year. And Tyler Shuck has only completed 10 of his 28 passes against the blitz. It's 35%. That's like 12 points lower than any other qualified quarterback. So, like, I think, like, as you talk about it, right, like the Dolphins could be a really nice piece on defense for sure. And then there's also this thing called the South Beach flu, which I've heard some teams and some players get when they go down there. I don't know. Give me the Fins. I'll take them, and hopefully Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle and the boys show up today.
I hear you. Achane touchdown? Absolutely. Anytime touchdown? Absolutely. Money. Like, you already know what it is, Lewis. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and definitely Devon Achane anytime touchdown. Falcons, Jets. Okay, nobody cares about this game. Moving on.
I love it.
Falcons getting 3 points going into MetLife to take on the Jets. Records here don't really matter. Over under 48.5. Oh boy. Yeah. When Atlanta is a betting favorite, bet against, and when they are underdog.
That's fair.
That's true. That's betting them like for a good amount of tea like the entire year. It's so true. Rick's bet on point today. Yeah. Shout out to Rick. He's bet on point.
That's fair.
But in terms of how like these things set up, like it's been a rough year for the Jets, obviously. But honestly, it's just you trade away all your good pieces, so it is what it is. I will say that Bijan Robinson, a get right spot. Because look, like Jets allow 7th most yards after contact per attempt at 2.2. And they've been one of the worst run defenses in the last 4 weeks. So this is definitely a spot for Bijan Robinson to definitely have a bounce back spot here. And yeah, I mean, look, I think the Jets have an opportunity to win this one. Tyrod Taylor gives some stability at quarterback, and with the weapons that the Jets have, Mechie and overall Adonai Mitchell, Mason Taylor, stuff like that. Like I do think that with Tyrod Taylor, you get a better outcome, at least trying to win the game. So I'm gonna take the Jets +3. Nah, I'm taking Falcons. I want that first overall pick. So, but in terms of that, Falcons have been the hardest team to figure out, especially now with Kirk Cousins at quarterback. That's what makes things a little bit more interesting. And yeah, the Panthers, I agree with that too, because they've both been, the Panthers have been a weird team all year. Bryce Young goes from passing 400 plus passing yards to being back to the dead rock that he is passing. So had a deep run in a tournament with Tyrod, double stack lives. It's still 4,300 today. Like, so it's something that on DraftKings at least, FanDuel, it might be basement price.
Yeah, it's probably I don't have any like lineups with Tyrod, but I thought about it, but he's 6,700.
Oh yeah, what's basement price on 6,500 is basement price for FanDuel?
Max Brosmer, 6K.
Yeah, we'll talk about him next. But yeah, I mean, look, I think from over perspective, I think this could definitely hit the over. Just because, like, Kirk Cousins, man, like, it's like he just looks so bad out there though, too. So I'm just like, man, like, it just has to be the Bijan Robinson show today. No Drake London, right? This has to be a Bijan Robinson's pull-up spot, right?
Boy, I sure hope so.
I sure hope so, my damn self.
I sure hope so.
But no, I'm gonna take the Falcons here. Just because
Just because I want my team to suck the rest of the year, and I want the number one pick. And guess what? You know what? I was actually talking to a fellow Jet fan at work, and he literally cracks me up all the time because he's always like, "It doesn't even matter what happens. We're gonna find some way to screw it up." I was like, I can tell this man is broken. I can tell this man is broken. You know, I can tell. I can tell he's broken. You know what I mean? And we were just kind of like chopping it up, and we were kind of like,
this man's broken.
Yeah, we were kind of like, well, you know, who are some of your favorite, you know, drafts, you know, draft picks, you know, the Jets made? And we were kind of going back and forth, and I was like, yeah, I could see why you would think they would botch this because they have a history of botching. Yeah. I don't even have an answer for you right now, bro. Like I don't even have an answer for you right now. Like no, like I don't have an answer.
Hell on her, folks. Hell on her.
No, I don't. Like I think you know, obviously there's still a lot of time because I think like again, like there's still a lot of pieces. Like there's still a lot of time on the clock for, you know, for everybody and everywhere, and eligibility and things. But don't worry, you know, we'll be talking about that for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Falcons here, man, in this space too. I just think oh man, that's funny. That's funny because guess what? I'm from Tennessee and it's money. Like, and just so I could go ahead and just crash out real quick. Last night, for the first time in 125 years, Vanderbilt is actually good at football for the first time ever. And like since 1915, that's the first time they've ever had 9 wins or more. But anyway, yeah, my buddy, he said the same thing. He was like, I messaged him like back whenever the Titans actually pulled out that win in Arizona. I was like, bro, like, what's wrong with the Titans? He's like, I don't know. I hate them. I don't even watch them. And then the game's over with, and he sends me hashtag tighten up. I'm like, bro, stop. You're ridiculous. Stop.
Hashtag tighten up.
Stop. But yeah, no, I'm going to take the Falcons, man, in this space. And last week I said I was going to suit up and play wide receiver for the Falcons. This week I'm suiting up, and I'm playing D-back for the Jets. Because how do you not have an interception? How do you not have an interception all year? Well, you know what? Listen, you know what? I'll pop my Achilles out there, man, to get an interception on the NFL stage. All right. So I'm suiting up today, playing corner. All right. Because the Falcons don't have anybody to play corners. Play wide receiver. So I'll be out there today. So give me the Falcons, give me Bijan Robinson, man, and all of the amazing things for him today. I think, like, I agree with you, Nick. There's got to be a good space. And then, like, here's the other thing, too, man. Breece Hall, 2-9, man, but Breece Hall, the volume has been there, man. Like, the passing game work has been there. I think, like, he's somebody that's being grossly overlooked on a slate like today. And it's easy, like, when you look at this game, right, and Bijan's there, and it's like a Bijan or Breece Woods. Bijan, easy. But I do like Breece Hall in this space here today, so I will be playing I'll be playing a bit of him today as well. Yep.
Breece Hall definitely is a spot where, yeah, I think he has more, his target share has increased since Tyrod Taylor has been a starter. So this is something that I think, look, I think Breece Hall, you could definitely play him sneakily today for roster percentage, like today. And all right, cool, no problem. 6K today on DraftKings, like in a decent spot against Atlanta. Like, yeah. I'm not sure what ownership is for that. That might be something that ownership they might have creeped up a little bit more on since I last took a look. But yeah, like that's still a spot. And yeah, the IDP league. Yeah, we're in the IDP league where it's basically like a best ball formatted IDP roster. So I'm not doing the best, but it is what it is. Like,
you know what? I knew how I knew that. You know how I knew that?
What?
Because I hadn't heard you talk about it once. Yeah,
so I told you about it several times.
Maybe you did, and maybe I just wasn't paying attention. That's possible too. I'll give you some grace on that and say that. But typically, yeah. Typically it's trending. Typically it's trending if that's the case. So
I can't,
yeah, typically it's trending.
Like,
so.
I look. I'm still in the playoffs right now, but
Okay, there we go. Okay, all right. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's just like you're like, all right, like I'll be like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll be 500 of it, and if I get in,
much.
All right,
we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Yeah,
respect. I think that's the first time I ever heard you use it in that phrase, man. As far as
you kind of put it together, so
yeah,
I went with it.
no, yeah, no.
You formatted really well. I'm like, I'll go with this.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. All right, cool.
He's more active than Tell Lewis. Good Lord. The guy that was like on auto draft the entire time.
Hell. Oh man. One of them. One of
those idiots. But we got sidetracked, of course. Falcons, we both got the over. You like the over? You like the under? Like,
I don't like anything about this game other than Bijan Robinson, Brees Hall, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is going to be played quite a bit today. He was, I think he was like 15% on FanDuel, but like I'll threw a couple like John Minchie's in there, man. Just because just because we talked about on Monday, man. Like well, it's not even a feel good story, man. He's had 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure he's like wide receiver 18 and wide receiver maybe 14. So he's had he's put together 2 weeks where he's been able to be in your starting lineup and not just like as a flex option, but like as a viable piece. And I think like, as we all know, like with Tyrod Taylor playing quarterback, like he's a veteran, so he understands how to play. So, I would say, and of course this will come up and blow in my face for sure, but like I would put Adonai Mitchell in there, man. But it seems like every time I'm ready to like do something with this guy, he runs the wrong route, he drops the ball, he fumbles it before, every time, like I'm ready to be like, yeah, like that, and then it just so I can't get him right. So Rick, if you can get him right, brother, more power to you. But I can't, and I can't wait for him to go off and blow up the slate today and make me look stupid here. Can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Oh my gosh, I just thought about it. A Jets double stack with a bring back a Bijan? Oh God.
Somebody could win $1 million off of it. Seems like that's what it is. Just wake up with the most asinine idea and a pocket full of money and throw it into a FanDuel or DraftKings lineup and watch what happens,
It's possible.
Yeah.
Moving on to the 4:00 games. We got the Vikings. We got the Seahawks. Vikings, double-digit underdog going into Seattle, home of the 12th man arena. Look, has been pretty for anyone that's KOC people. And now we got Max Brommer at quarterback. I expect a lot of checkdowns today. Expect a ton of checkdowns today in this matchup because Brommer was one of those type of quarterbacks in college that did do a ton of checkdowns. But obviously it's also because Seattle's defense ranked first in defensive DVOA. They are fifth in lowest EPA allowed per play. So they don't allow too many like terms like deep plays downfield and don't allow a ton of points. And look, this is just a spot. I think that if you have Aaron Jones, this could be a decent spot for him in terms of checkdowns and, short area and intermediate targets, like maybe your boy Jalen Naylor today. But Justin Jefferson obviously gets a tough matchup against Devon Witherspoon. So that's something to definitely monitor. But it's something that I do think they're going to have to get Jefferson the ball in this matchup. They must. I need to see a game for Jefferson to have a double-digit target. Like, he needs to have the Jamar Chase from several weeks back. He needs to keep on targeting the guy all the time. Doesn't matter if he's covered or not. Like, get him the football. But taking Seattle here and the over because I do think that sneakily, I think Seattle could do it by themselves.
Oh boy, listen, I just want to let you know, listen, in good faith, I can appreciate your Justin Jefferson rant about getting him the ball because I'd like for that to happen too in the leagues that I have him in. But yes, anyone is better than 9. Nailed it. Nailed it. And as we just were talking about, as a great segue.
Better than 9.
Yes, as a great segue of some psychopath waking up thinking, let me put together the most asinine lineup that I could possibly put together.
Yep.
Why not put together a game stack with Max Brosner and JSN and Jefferson and Jordan Addison?
Yeah.
And then let's just see what happens, right? Like, what could go wrong? I don't know because
Jordan Addison not getting any catches like last week. Yep, that could go
I was about to say, what could go wrong? Like, oh, you're gonna do exactly what I think you're gonna do. Yeah. So, yeah. So, like, why not? Like, I mean, like, I only did it like in one, and it was like, I see Rick said he has a couple of those lineups. I only did it in one. But I did play some Sam Darnold
that's
today.
what you get for playing MME. Yep, you can do whatever you want. Yep.
Yeah, I do like Sam Darnold today. I know, like, it could be a weird matchup. It could end up being a weird matchup in terms of, like, I worry about, like, obviously the familiarity with Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold, obviously kind of knowing what Sam Darnold does well and what he doesn't. But I think that's pretty straightforward. I think, like, obviously the Seahawks have a distinct advantage on defense. And then, like, the other thing that was crazy too, and I was like looking and, like, you know, doing research on this game. So I think, like, the Vikings have had either like 13 or 15 different offensive line combinations this year. And, like, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. Like, that's going to cause some problems for you for sure. Like, that's going to cause some problems for any quarterback in the league, let alone essentially, like, I know he's not a rookie. Yeah, I love it, man. Like, I love it, bro.
Forget about the revenge narrative today.
Yeah, like, I just, like, I think that, like, you know, well, hey, man, like, we kind of backhandedly laughed about it with DeAndre Swift, and look at what happened. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I think, like, yeah, like, that's one thing that'll cause problems, obviously, is that right there. So yeah, like, I'm gonna take the Seahawks in this space. Like, I think, like, it's a very safe spot. We never know what we're gonna get. I think, like, typically, like, rookie quarterbacks anyway, like, when they make their first start, it's not good. So I think this is a pretty much a slam dunk here for the
Jefferson
Seahawks.
hasn't had a 100-yard performance.
What'd you say?
Jefferson hasn't had a 100-yard performance since week 5.
Yeah, no, I know, and he's been averaging like 4 catches for like 43 yards, bro. Like, trust me, trust me.
I hate seeing elite talent getting wasted, yo.
What do you like? What do you do? Like, what do you like? It's like, the thing for me that would be, like, more frustrating. Like, it would be more frustrating if, like, everybody else around him was producing, Brian Thomas Jr., but he wasn't the one that was producing. Like, that would be more frustrating. But, like, for me, I'm like, okay, like, this is just frustrating because, like, offensively they suck right now. Like, it's just what it is. And, like, I've seen like some pretty sharp people on X and stuff just talking about how, like, you know, I think I seen somebody, it might have been Jamie. I think I seen, like, he was like, yeah, he's like, I'm benching Jefferson for Troy Franklin today. And I was like, whew. I was like, that's where we're at, man. I was like, that's where we're at. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. JJM has to get Naylor involved. I would agree. Backup target the tight ends. Yep. Hawkinson, definitely, you know, a spot where that could definitely be had today. Hardly knew.
My man. You all right, man. I like you, bro. I like you.
That Tennessee freaking love.
That's it, baby. That's
all it is. Raiders, Chargers. Let's take this away real quickly. Chargers win because they got to bye. They're rested. Vidal starting because there's no Hampton in this spot. Figures. Yeah, I mean, look, this comes down to Chargers, like, last time we seen them, right? Last time we seen the Chargers. Last time we seen the Chargers, right? Whew.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
35-6 beatdown.
Don't do it. Don't be that guy.
What Jags? Good Lord, by the Jags. But yeah, Herbert going back to my, you know, for 10 career games against the Raiders, he has thrown at least 2 passing touchdowns, 7 of them. So look, fresh off the bye, they have the matchup. The Raiders give up 6 most receiving yards to opposing receivers. So this could be a Ladd McConkey day / Allen day, but it also could be Gadsden as well. If you have all those guys, you're firing up on either DFS, your season longs today, you're firing up all the Chargers today. Vidal, depending on the question, depending on who you have for start sit, like, this could be a spot where you're going to have to use him because the Raiders are just atrocious. So, yeah, like, I think the Chargers, I'm not going to take the points, but I do think they're going to absolutely win the game. And like Rick was talking about, yep, Gadsden and Bowers, high up on ownership, according to his portfolio. But they are high on today in general. Gatson, obviously, more than Bowers. As far as I see this, one, it just comes down to just Chargers. We're expecting to handle business, but can we really trust them, Johnny? Can we really trust the Chargers, even in this divisional spot?
Against this shit show of the Raiders, absolutely. Okay. The Raiders are the Raiders are an absolute shit show right now. Like, and I'm not like I'm not even gonna like go into like data and analytics and the Raiders are a shit show. That's it. That's it. Like, no, I love Vidal today too. Like, I'm playing a lot of him. So, like, the Raiders are a shit show. Like, that's it. There's no other way to describe it. The next move is going to be they're going to bench Geno Smith after today because they have to do something to show that they're making changes like in some kind of space here or there. And that's the next move that they can make is that move right there, because obviously Pete Carroll isn't going anywhere. Like at this point, unless he's just like, you know what, like I thought I could fix it, but I can't. So I think there's that. And then like the Chargers, I think this is just a nice get right spot for them, obviously. With all the injuries like they've got like up front, fantasy managers, man, we're dying for Omarion Hampton to come back if you're even hanging around in some of these spots. Obviously, it won't be this week. Vidal left the last time they played. With an injury.
I am, damn it.
Like, so I think like it's just one of those things, man, where like, again, like I'm not going to spend any more of your time or any more of my oxygen on it. The Raiders suck. Ashton Jeanty, I will say this though, man, I am starting to find a little bit more love for him. It's just, again, man, like I said, like, earlier on, it's just, we just knew it was a really bad situation. And I think his individual and his advanced metrics and analytics, showing like the missed tackles and things like that, like you can tell that like it's going to be something special whenever they get everything together. But like, I don't know if that's going to be next year or in 2 years, man. So yeah, y'all can have it, man.
Yep. That's all we pretty much got. What's Ladd McConkey's price today?
He's a pretty good price on FanDuel too. I will see like what he is on FanDuel.
6,300 on DraftKings,
and
which is like
he's 7,600 on FanDuel.
I know, and this is like the type of receiver that I'm like, this is like really he really burns you or really gives you a leg up when he has like the outcome at 6,300. Like, he's done it a couple weeks ago against your team, but just like, I just.
Yeah, bro, because they suck. Because they suck in the secondary, and the Raiders suck. So, like, this is a spot. Like, this is a good spot. Like, it's a good spot.
It is a good spot. So, there's definitely going to buy a spot for receiver for sure. Yeah. Let's see, 6,800 for Jeanty, right?
I don't like, again.
Wrong player disregard. It's 6,400 Jeanty today. So. Yeah. The receiving work was something I thought we would see all year because of like, simply put, like, bruh, like at least the last 2 games now, it's been looking decent. I'm saying 8 targets back-to-back games for Jeanty, and he's had at least 6 catches in those back-to-back games. I do think that 6,400 for Jeanty, like, could be a spot where, just like with the Hall spot, it's like potentially this team could be trailing all game, and if we're gonna get a ton amount of like catches and stuff like that, 6,400 for Jeanty, like, okay. And if this game gets any weird, because it always can be for AFC West Division games, like,
I would normally subscribe to that theory, but the Raiders are a shit show. Like, that's all you're gonna get from me today. Ashton Jeanty's good, Brock Bowers is good, the Raiders are a shit show. That's all you're gonna get from me today. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's fair. I guess I'll just talk to myself about it then.
Yeah, nothing more, nothing less.
Last game of the 4:00 slate we go to. Johnny, take it away. The Bills getting 3 on the road going into Pittsburgh. Big game, I think, for both teams. Over under 45.5.
Yeah, like this is a huge game for sure. Obviously, Anticipating Aaron Rodgers being on the field today for the Steelers. Anticipating Aaron Rodgers being on the field for the Steelers today. Bill's got problems, man. Bill's got problems in the space of offensive line, and that's not like a really good place that you want to be at, given how this offense works with Josh Allen and the pass rushers of the Steelers. However, my one concern would be the Steelers stopping the run. That would be one of my concerns here today. Although they have showed up and played well against, some of the better running backs in the NFL, namely guys like Jonathan Taylor. They've done a pretty good job, like against guys like him, for sure. And then Kincaid, we still don't know, but it looks like is he trending towards being there or trending towards being? I think he's trending towards playing today.
He should.
Okay. All right. That's going to be kind of scary. That's going to be kind of scary for me. However, the Steelers do get a new addition today, an Asante Samuel Jr. I'm a little bit excited.
You a little giddy over there?
Yeah, I am. Like, I really am. I think, like, if you would have told me 2 or 3 years ago that appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, bro. If you would have told me 2 or 3 years ago that our defense would have had Jalen Ramsey and Asante Samuel Jr. On it, I would take that every single day of the week for sure. And I'll say this too, man. Like in the past, like the Steelers have actually played the Bills decent. Bro, they've played them decent. They actually beat them. Don't quote me. I want to say it was either 2 or 3 years ago. They beat them in week 1 of the regular season, and then they played them in the playoffs the year before that. And it was like a 7-point game in the playoffs. And then I know this is going to blow everybody's mind, but I'm 90. I don't want to say 90. I'll say 80% sure. It was Deontay Johnson who fumbled, or it was Deontay Johnson or George Pickens that fumbled inside the 10. And the game kind of got out of hand like that in the fourth quarter. It's actually when Mason Rudolph was playing quarterback. So, like, this isn't a game that, like, I feel like it's just as clear cut, like, for the Bills to run away with this game. As maybe like the general public thinks. And I'm like not even speaking as a fan because I'm very honest and very real about when my team sucks. The Steelers also have a problem as well. Broderick Jones, he's on IR for the rest of the season. Although, depending on what Steeler fan you ask, he's been playing on the IR all year long. So I think, this is going to be a good game. And the Steelers, man, like the one thing that like they actually do a really good job at, and it's surprisingly, it's like they do a really good job at running the ball, and Buffalo actually has a problem stopping the run. So I think like this is definitely going to be a much closer game and a better game again than what people think, schematically. So I'm gonna take what does it say? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So typically when that happens, guys end up not playing, but I mean that's a lot of. I don't want to say it's a onesie position, but there's not a lot of those guys typically. So maybe
I guess in this, you were gonna. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I would almost kind of lean towards maybe not seeing Kincaid, I'm just gonna take the Steelers, man, in this space because they shouldn't win this game from the general public's view. And this is a game that they shouldn't win, and it's getting closer and closer to the end of the year. And like, there's a lot of smoke in Pittsburgh about this coaching staff. There was a lot of players that had a lot to say about the coaching staff, and I agree, man. I had mentioned this, and I'll shut up in like 1 minute, and I'll give it to you. But last week, I said it last week that it would not have surprised me if Ben Johnson and the Bears coaching staff outcoached the Steelers. Period. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly like what happened. And I love Mike Tomlin as a motivator, as a leader of men. Like I love him in that space. But there's also a space too for any effective leader that you got to know sometimes like either A, you don't have the right people around you, or B, you just need to let your people do their thing because it's not working. And I think there's an arrogance and a confidence, and I use that word arrogance with Mike Tomlin very loosely, with him that like you can be wrong, bro. Like you can be wrong. Like you can be wrong, right? Like you can be wrong. I think like the relationship he has with the players is great. I think the inspiration piece is great, but the X's and O's, brother, like if you don't got them in the right spot, man, it don't matter. You know what I mean? It don't matter. And I think and then DK Metcalf, bro. where, like, what, like, to see, like, and I've kind of like let it die down. Like,
Yeah.
George Pickens, truther from last year and the year before.
Oh boy.
To see what is happening right now, and just to think that, like, you didn't even give it a try, bro. You didn't even let it try with George Pickens and DK Metcalf. You didn't even give it a try, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. Yes, decoy Metcalf. Yeah, you nailed it. And I love DK Metcalf, dude. Like, I was last year, like, dude, like that. Literally, that was like 70% of my fantasy rosters last year was like DK Metcalf, George Pickens, DK Metcalf, George Pickens.
Yeah.
And we have a chance to have them on the same damn roster, and we don't even give it a shot. Nope. And then we're like, we need another wide receiver. Sure. Why not?
Oh boy. Say nothing new under the sun, right?
That's it.
I'm gonna take the Bills in this spot because talk about embarrassing, right? I know Houston's defense very good, but 8 sacks, and now you don't have your starting tackles. I know Pittsburgh is gonna bring the pressure. Like, they don't need to blitz. You got TJ Watt, baby.
Nick Heiberg, too. Put some respect on his name, too. One of the best young pass rushers. Nick Heiberg. One of the best.
Alex Highsmith, too. When
But just one of the best young pass rushers in the game, man.
Totally. My whole thing is with Aaron Rodgers, man, like, how healthy is that wrist? There's a question I have, along with how else can this offense move? You know what I'm saying? Because I know Kenneth Gainwell really starting to come into his own in this offense, along with, Jalen Warren. So both of those guys are definitely sharing the backfield. But outside of them and outside of Metcalf, who hasn't, like you just talked about, really, he's been really a decoy for most of the year. Like, how else you guys going to get the offense to keep on moving is, like, the big question I have. At least what I know with Josh Allen, it's like we know he's going to be very escapable when it comes to it. But also, it's like you still got James Cook back there. James Cook, man, just continue just to keep on defining, my existence of fantasy football. The Steelers are, middle of the pack defense when it comes to the run. But they do allow 6 fewest fantasy points to running backs. So not the spot I would probably want to play James Cook, but it's definitely a contrarian spot. Because this game could get, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, this over-under could definitely hit. The guy I want to talk about, though, is Khalil Shakir, because obviously we all know Pittsburgh's secondary is not anything to write home about. And literally, with Khalil Shakir, like, he overall is the receiver in terms of, against man coverages. He's the best in yards per route run, 3.2, when it comes to just being the chain mover constantly. So if it's not James Cook, if it's not Josh Allen getting the first down to other guys, it's definitely Khalil Shakir he looks for and has been looking for. So I mean, I like both of these teams. They both need a win here. But I think Buffalo, I just think they have it a little bit more together at this point in time of the year. So give me Buffalo. They just need to run the ball with Warren. Gainwell to have a chance.
Literally. But you know what? That makes too much sense. So they'll throw the ball 40 times today. So don't worry about it. We got you covered, Chief.
Oh, boy. Good Lord. Oh, boy. Well, that's all of those games that we just covered. Appreciate everybody for coming through, for sure. Please subscribe to the channel. Tell your people about us. We out here later this afternoon as well, 7:30 p.m. EST. Talk about the Sunday Night Football game. Not be the Broncos and Commanders. We talk about that later on today. But going into it, our favorite show section of the week as well. Nick's Prop Shop. We out here. 62% year to date, baby. Look, also, good Lord, yo, Thanksgiving/Black Friday went 9-3 on bets. 2-0 on the Eagles-Bears game. Swift, that was easy. That was easy money. And Jalen Hurts should have had more rushing yards, but he barely got us there with the 30 yards rushing. So take that. The only thing that didn't hit was Derrick Henry, which game script got away from us. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't hit because he got hurt first quarter. And Jahmyr Gibbs, for whatever reason, didn't use him in the receiving game enough. Don't know how and don't know why that happened, but it is what it is. Again, 9-3 when it comes down to it from the turkey game Black Friday. So I hope I made y'all a little bit of coin, a little bit of lunch money. Let's hope we can make you guys a little bit more today. Core 4 bets for week 13 as follows. Kyren Williams, over 64.5 rush yards. Talked about it earlier with Carolina run defense. They were good earlier on in the year, but now they're kind of been slacking. They're now allowing 4.3 yards per carry, and they ranked 21st in opponent rush EPA per rush. So in comes Kyren Williams, average 72 yards per game this season as well. So this is a good spot. I like the line. I like the over in this spot, especially potential for more if the Rams just, put it on them early. Lad McConkey, 50 receiving yards and the 5 catches or more. Again, six best matchup for receivers are the Raiders today, and Lad McConkey is facing them. Obviously, there could be some intertwining between Keenan Allen and overall Gadsden. I just think, though, Lad gets back on track today in the spot. Khalil Shakir, 50 receiving yards or more and 5 catches or more as well. Again, Khalil Shakir is a chain mover for this Buffalo Bills offense. So definitely just love both of these as well here in a spot where Buffalo, they know they have to get right. Steelers, still one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. So I'm taking advantage of the matchup here in this spot. And lastly, for the core 4 bets, Nico Collins, 66.5 receiving yards. Look, man, Stroud getting back into it. He's been on the sideline last couple of weeks. They know they have to get right. They know this is a must-win. I expect Nico Collins at least have 10 targets or more in this spot, which should relatively get this over for receiving yards relatively easy. If you like the catches for 6+, I like that too. But give me the receiving yards in the spot. Colts are the 3rd worst pass defense to boundary receivers. So that's why I like Nico Collins in the spot. Brock Bowers, 59.5 receiving yards. This is more of like a gut play because, the Raiders are going to be behind this spot. They know they have to do something to get this offense more aligned. And, the good news is that, you got Brock Bowers, you got Genty, but it's more about, okay, like, can you get these guys the ball consistently? So I do expect Geno Smith to get Brock Bowers this line. He's hit this in 2 of the last 3 games he's played. So pretty much a staple here. This spot has pretty much been here for the last 3 or 4, we've bet this JSN line at least 3 times this year, over 6.5 catches. Like, we all know JSN has been money for us all year. And just a nice spot here against Minnesota. We know they love the blitz. So this easily leaves things open for JSN in terms of schematics. Because, again, Vikings are still the number 1 blitz defense in the NFL. And what do you do against the blitz? You either do screen passes or short area immediate targets, quick fire, overall passes. And that's where JSN should benefit. Cam Ward, over 210 passing yards. It's at plus money currently. I saw it last. I just like the spot where we know the Jaguars have one of the best run defenses in the NFL, and we all know the Titans' run game. They don't know how to run the football like that. So the only way they'll have an opportunity to be in this game is they start throwing the football with Cam Ward. He looked pretty decent against Seattle last week, so I'm just going to ride the hot hand in this one and expect us to cash relatively easy. Devin Neal, over 35.5 rush yards. I'm just taking this line right now because this is a line where this could be – I still expect like a neutral game between the Dolphins and Saints. I don't expect the Saints to get, trounced immediately. So it should leave some availability for Devin Neal to be getting a good amount of workload and share here. And the Dolphins still, by statistics and by matchup, they tightened up over the last couple of weeks against the run. But there's still a bottom 5, run funnel for running backs. So I think this is a spot where I like Devin Neal. We liked him in the process coming out the draft, and now we have an opportunity to see what he is firsthand. I think that if he does easily clear this line, then this line will definitely be relatively more up and up for weeks to come. Lastly, Jalen Coker, he's hit this line 3 of the last 4 weeks. It hasn't been the prettiest, but I still like it in a spot where we expect the Rams to, come out and lead early, and that should lead to Jalen Coker having opportunities to at least getting some open area targets. He's cleared the wide receiver 2 in this offense by a country mile, and I expect that, at least for any type, Panthers are going to run the football, obviously, but they're going to have to get outside of McMillan. They got to get somebody else going, and I expect Jalen Coker to at least hit this line one more time for us. But yep, gotta go. Yep, appreciate y'all. I hope y'all win it all and earn $10,000. Hey man, that's all we try to do, bro. Like, hey lottery ticket time, But that being said, yeah, we wish y'all success today, so we could beat not only the books but also DFS lineups. That being said, Johnny, it's my favorite time of the show where I ask you if you got any final thoughts.
Nah, man. I think I got them all out today.
Okay, good.
Got them all out. Got them all out.
You feel refreshed? Feel renewed?
We'll find out. We'll find out about 1:30.
I can't, yo.
We'll find
1:30.
Yeah.
Wow.
1:30.
Okay.
Yeah, about 1:30. Yeah, about 1:30. That's when I typically know.
I guess I give it a little bit more time. I think 2:30 for me is usually right. You got to get at least a halftime some of these games to really find out if you're in it or really not. But I tend to also back off some of the second half games too. So it's like if I get at least a good amount of a lead for DFS, I'm like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. And then second half games kick off. I'm like, okay. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but I think like you live more in like the prop space, you know what I mean? Like you live more in the prop space, and I'm in DFS world. So like by the time 1:30, 1:45 hits, like I kind of have a feeling like if I'm in a good space or if I'm not in a good space, you know what I mean? And then from there, it's just kind of like, all right, like if that's what it is, man, then that's what it is. But I'm just honestly like biggest thing for me today is just the playoffs, like playoffs in a lot of these of these leagues, man. That's the biggest thing. So
yeah, I hear that too.
Yeah. So
more points, and more points.
Yeah. So we'll see. We shall see. We shall see.
All right. Yep. More thoughts? Final thoughts from me right now? None, because we'll be back later today. Again, 7:30 p.m. EST. Be here. Again, shout out to my guy Johnny, because he's the awesome one. And that being said, we out here, y'all. We'll see you guys later this evening. Peace.